form of magic damage to knock those black shields off of other people.
And a huge damage scaling here for Bjergsen in the mid lane for TSM. Corki can definitely deliver huge amounts of impact later on. And since they already have a Braum Varus bottom lane, that is a bottom lane that provides a lot of crowd control to work off of. A Kennen from the top side that could also go full AP and come in with those big flanks. They have a decent amount of setup, and now they have scaling damage.
Corki and Varus also have plenty of range. A lot of poke can come out from these guys, and if you try to engage on a team that has Kennen and Braum right next to them, they can make a lot of crazy things happen.
Yeah, it's going to have to be looks like a remake. They didn't actually trade. Sneaky and Licorice did not trade their spots.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there was some sort of error or if they just left it too long and it got past 20 and they had to...
That's a bad sign. Looking kind of slow there on the champion swaps. They had an Ashe top.
All right, we do have, it was a client error that caused them not to be able to trade. It wasn't Cloud9 doing Cloud9 meme stuff and juggling champions back and forth too much before the timer ran out, but Champion Select will be remade. All of the picks are going to be locked in. There's not going to be any changes. As soon as everything gets locked in again, we will launch ourselves into game here for game number 2, but this one's going to be looking quite different from game number 1, just based on comps alone.
Very, very true here. And Reaper going through, coaching each of them. All right, when you need to pull off the swap, gotta click it before 20 seconds left.
Accept, not decline.
This is Reaper. The statement has to be...
Is your brain on?
Listen, buddy, because that's how you know that he's in the serious mode. He's ready to give the real advice at that point. But Cloud9, they look good in game number 1. They got to be feeling good coming into the second matchup now. More traditional comp, not going to be seeing the Sona, the Taric, anything like that. And that's honestly one thing I like to see. If you pull out a cheesier, newer age strategy and then just go all in on that, only index onto that, it sometimes can fall flat on its face. But Cloud9 are saying, all right, we shook things up in game number 1. Now we're back to our roots here in number 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the things that people have always talked up about Reaper. He's very willing to pick up and use any sort of champion that comes into the meta, or even if they aren't in the meta yet. He's very open to any ideas that the players have of something that could give them an edge, not necessarily tunnel visioning on it and making that their only strategy, but having multiple looks.
Yeah, and I mean, it can be that one game strategy where then, even if you never plan on bringing it out, if the series goes 5 games, TSM have to give credence to that. They have to worry about the potential of that being brought out, and it can be a little bit of the mental warfare. You know, over in the LEC this past weekend, we saw Splice go up against Fnatic, and I loved one of the interviews from the Splice coach where he was saying, they asked him, okay, why did you choose this strategy to actually lane swap on top? And he said, it was mental warfare. Bwipo had a bad game number 1. We wanted to get in his head, swap on him, put him in a bad mental state. And those sorts of things can be so intelligent in a best of 5.
Yeah, when you put more pressure on an enemy player, pose more early game questions to them, how do they react to this? Then that can be a way to try and pry open a lead.
And I remember talking to Reaper a while ago after the games a couple weeks back, and he was talking about the advantage of getting the bye and going straight to the semifinals and having the extra week of preparation and how much more that means to craft new strategies and prepare new ways to approach the series that you just would not have the time to properly do with only 1 week of downtime between the matches. So Cloud9 has definitely been working with this advantage that they bought themselves with their placement in the regular season, and I'm excited to see what more curveballs they might be bringing out here in this series.
So just for an update, the teams are now locking in their picks. We will be getting through this pick van here very quickly and then hopping straight into game. But we have gotten to see some of those new looks. As you said, not only the Sona Taric, but Ashe is a first time. GP is a first time this split for these guys. So they are certainly flexible in the champion picks. And even on the other side, Sven bringing out Vayne for the first time for himself, right? These two teams certainly have put a lot of focus and preparation on this pivotal matchup.
I'm also going to be looking at some of the level 1 possibilities, because some of the other champions of the game, like Braum, can actually have a very high impact. In best of 5s, that's another angle that you can take. Try and have a surprise level 1, going for an invade in an unexpected area, or waiting in brush when you do have power like that. On the other side, there is Morgana, so the bindings, everybody knows those can have a very high impact in level 1s as well, and looking for that critical edge.
And I always love Braum paired with multiple auto attackers. You have 2 marksmen who can proc that passive so fast.
Yeah. And this is one of those types of situations, talking about the level 1s, when you hear pro players talk about scrims, it's like, yeah, we call those go next games. Because you start off, you have a bad level 1, it's 4-0 or something, you say, okay, go next. Next game, we're not going to play this because this is so unrealistic, but if you have that happen in a best of 5, that can seriously put you in a spot where your opponent has no idea what in the world to react to. And Morgana also, for people who might be wondering, well, hey, what's Morgana doing back in the mid lane if maybe you're not super well versed in the champion ever since it got that slight change with the Kayle Morgana reworks? Everything about her is the same, except now the ultimate gives her move speed towards targets that are bound up in the shackles, so it means she can stick to people easier. The Tormented Soil is free wave clear, and it just makes her really oppressive.
Yep, just added some more damage to it, so rounding out some of the strengths there. And especially in mid lane, we kind of talked about it. It is about just trying to push out those waves, farm up, and then later in the game, you lend a very long bind duration to your team for trying to figure out picks. Also, Black Shield can be so important for protecting these carries.
Yeah, the timing of that to immune a Braum stun, a knockup from J4, all these different sorts of things that can come through is so critical. TSM does have a fair bit of magic damage to be able to knock through that Black Shield very quickly, though, if it's ever mistimed.
The crowd comes to life and the players take their spots. We're heading into Summoner's Rift here for game number 2 between Cloud9 and TSM. Cloud9 currently leading the series 1-0. As we make our way into this one, you can see Licorice in the top side has that Grasp the Undying here on the Gangplank, ready to deal with the early harass that you mentioned, Isaac, from that cannon early on in the lane. If you're not tuned into these games while logged into watch.lolesports.com, you're missing out on some free in-game swag while having access to live updating stats all throughout the series. So head on over there if you want to give your watching experience a little bit of an extra edge.
All right, little bit of vision given over. TSM knows that there's a ward in the Pixel Brush. Not a big surprise, trying to get the vision down for the early Scuttle Crab.
5 gold
on both sides, yeah.
Ooh, TSM, you gonna try it? Nah, Broken Blade, a lightning rush over what's almost a dead ward, but almost still means a ward's hanging out there in the brush. Smoothie and Acadian walk out. Smoothie might fire off a chair here. Nope, not even gonna hit. Oh, spam your animations, Niski. Spam at him. Dance on him.
Mental warfare.
It starts early in this game. Everyone remember, 1 minute, 15 seconds. First dodge of the game goes to Nixie.
Second dodge does not go to Sven, who does get clipped by the very edge of the volley. He'll take a little bit of damage there from Sneaky in the bottom side right before those minions spawn.
It's okay, though, because Broken Blade has an insurmountable lead of 5 gold in the top lane.
It's over. It's GG. He's already ready to go.
All right, this is kind of where I talked about in Champ Select. Ash getting a lot of early pushing pressure. You have control over the waves with that volley spam. Sneaky immediately starts auto-attacking the wave. They're trying to get it going forward. Zazel uses the Targon procs. Sven and Smoothie fighting back very quickly here. Hail of Arrows goes down, procs the lethal tempo for him for the extra attack speed. And they can regain control of the minion wave.
Acadian immediately from his red buff into the enemy blue, wanting to do some more vertical jungling here this time around. Hanging out on the top side does mean that if Licorice gets a little bit too hyphy there against that cannon, Acadian can punish very easily.
Broken Blade has started with the E first there. Does give you the extra resistances and move speed when you want to move forward. Try and go for your little bit of harassment. In lane, the Licorice's main goal, again, is going to be soaring up money. Getting those grass procs every once in a while. Trying to farm away.
And you saw a red side ping there coming out onto the Krugs from the side of TSM, looking towards that camp. They're saying, all right, we don't really know where the enemy jungler is right now. He might have been trying to invade you. We don't know. But Acadian has managed to steal away 2 camps from the enemy jungle, as well as secure the topside scuttle.
Yeah, and Acadian didn't get spotted coming over because he actually went through that Baron Pit, I do believe, to be able to steal away this camp. So this was not a vertical jungling setup. This is just a big advantage in the early levels for Acadian. Now Spence Scare and going to see if he can track this jungler.
It's something I talked about when we had the level 1 fight there, is that TSM having knowledge of where the C9 ward is a very big deal. They can work around the information that they know C9 are watching this area. Acadian does skirt it, and that's how you get these small jungle advantages. C9 are trying to fight back, though, and help out Svenskeren because he has no options on his own side of the map. He has to look aggressively.
Yeah, and they do have pushing lanes, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to actually make that collapse. You can see Sneaky and Zazel walking up, so they're at least considering challenging for some of these camps, but for now, it doesn't really seem like the opportunity is there.
One of the biggest and most fun things about jungling is not only working around the information you have, but the information you know your opponents have, and trying to predict their moves.
I thought you were going to say taking the other guy's stuff. That's my thing about jungling.
I like that part too.
You walk in there, this is my stuff now. And you immediately just grab all the camps, and if he's not playing the same game, you enjoy a nice lead. You can see Acadian 27 CS to the 16, soon to be 20 of Sven as he collects these wolves. But remember last game, it was Sven Skaren on the Hecarim against Acadian's Gragas, who built himself up a 2-level lead, who was massively ahead in not just farm, but overall game impact the entire time.
Yeah, and now for Sven, he's in a situation where there's no camps to farm. You go back to base, and TSM needs to be aware that, okay, this guy's going to be looking to gank. He has no camps to farm, play defensively, get those wards out, and that's why we saw Broken Blade take his time to go into that jungle, proc that vision plant, drop a ward to try to track any potential paths Sven could do.
Jungle control is completely a team-based objective, and Broken Blade doing his part there, pushing up on Kennen, getting the extra vision. Hawkshots can come through here from the C9 bottom side to try and help out and get Sven Skaren back on track.
And remember, when it comes to Hawkshot, you're not just looking to find out where the enemy jungler is. As long as you can fire it over camps and see which ones are dead, which ones are alive, you can get an idea of where your opponent has been, where he might be heading soon in terms of where he wants to path to be able to efficiently clear through his jungle. And it just gives you a ton of information you wouldn't otherwise have.
And really the only difference maker at all so far is that jungle lead. When you look at these lanes, it's parity across the board. These guys are so evenly matched, and it's going to be interesting to see if Cadian can bring it back after a game in which Sven Skaren really took over. It would be massive for TSM and for Cadian's confidence to be able to battle it back, to be able to take this early advantage and turn it into something more.
And Acadian and Broken Blade making their debuts in playoffs here this year, this split. Acadian has been a part of the LCS for a while, but this is his first time in playoffs, previously on teams that fell short of making that mark. And Broken Blade, I mean, this is his freshman split. We're going to see how this play happens in the bottom side. Acadian coming in, looking to make the move. Sneaky. Going to be gobbled to safety there by Zeyzal, who is going to be marked up by the Braum. Uses the cleanse zone there. Sneaky's going to get himself back. Sven takes some damage too.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a lot of summoners down there from TSM. Sneaky still has his TP available. It did cost the cleanse from Zeyzal, but both of C9's members are going to TP back. Zeyzal actually just spellbooked over to a TP, so it's now no flash on Sven, no flash or ignite on Smoothie. Pretty expensive gank, actually.
Yeah, they spend a lot of their summoner spells in an offensive attempt to try and get that first blood money. Sven was thinking he was going to land that arrow for the big burst damage and flash in for the auto to kill, but Sneaky able to avoid it. And thus, C9 do have the advantage in summoner spells down there now. However, TSM still a very slight gold advantage.
One thing I want to point out, we're talking about the bottom lane, but as I look towards the top side, it's Bilgewater Cutlass on Broken Blade. Not an AP Kennen style of item. Proto Belt, typically the choice if he wants to go for that.
All right, this dragon has started up. It's an Ocean Drake that's going to apply the slow. Makes it fairly difficult, but Zeyzal zones out Acadian for now. Dragon has to be leashed. I think the tunnel was taken back over. It's too early and too much damage given through. Sven Skaren very low.
Yeah, but this may actually just allow TSM to start it up. Their bot lane has arrived once more. We'll see if people want to commit to this. Remember, there's no TP on the top laners and no GP ult.
Broken Blade is already here. He's roamed down through mid lane. He can join the fight rather easily. He might be a second or two late, but his opponent cannot join.
Niski!
But Niski manages to steal it away.
Acadian did not use Smite. That is nerves if you have ever seen it. To lose that to a Morgana pool is so bad. That is such a big dragon to get this early on for laning.
Ooh, fair. I mean, they did buff the damage on the Tormented Soil.
No,
sir.
Like that.
It is true that they did buff it.
Yeah, but when you lose Drake to Spooky Dirt, that is not an acceptable error, and you can see there.
Yeah.
Cloud9 elated with that one. Plenty of free regeneration in the lane.
I mean, this is one of the dragons that when I talk to pros, especially solo laners, they are so tilted when the other jungler takes this, right? And for TSM, for Broken Blade, you roamed all the way down. You walk there, you're like, great, I'm gonna have this advantage. No, instead it's gonna be GP sitting back, regenning health, regenning mana, being able to clear out these waves over and over and over.
Bottom side, Sven Skaren now coming in trying to make the play. Smoothie gonna be hopping to safety, getting himself back to bed, but here comes your execution! And Sven Skaren will find first blood.
That's the payment for those summoner spells that were spent aggressively for TSM, so Sven Skaren coming up big again.
Oh my goodness, Cloud9 are off to the races once again. thought they were going to be punished here by trying to sneak away the Ocean Drake, but that turned out in their favor in the end. Now the bottom side gank is in their favor, and the invade has switched around. Svenskeren gets to take away the blue buff, deny that from the Corki in mid lane. It's now gonna really affect Bjergsen. Not only is the Ocean Drake for C9 gonna help out with the Morgana sustain and wave push there, but there's no blue buff for that Corki.
Set the table, boys. Cloud9's picking up some plates in the bottom lane as Licorice.
Oh, he showed.
Throw up a barrel here, clear out some of this wave. Acadian thinking about maybe setting up for a dive here in the top side, but Licorice just decides to drop the Gangplank ulti, use that Cannon Barrage to clear out the wave. Yes, Broken Blade and Acadian will get a single plate, but Licorice will prevent himself from losing anything else. Bjergsen roaming up to the top side now at the package. We'll see if they get into a 3 versus 3. Package gives you the edge here.
Yeah, and critically, there is no ult on GP as well, so it's going to be up to a smite fight.
Secured by Svenskeren. Playing really well here today.
And he was able to give the TSM blue buff over to Niski, so now they both are sporting fancy matching blue buffs.
And I know you pointed out earlier, that it is going to be this AD Kennen, and I think that's also important to kind of go through what that actually signifies as far as the gameplay. AP generally is about joining, grouping, looking for those team fights, looking for the flanks. AD is about committing to the split push and winning the 1v1, which is so much harder to do against an Ocean, and he's not even ahead in farm.
Once again, I gotta commend Niski here for the stylish gameplay. Morgana not necessarily one of the biggest outplay champions, one of the biggest style champions, but again, every skill shot he dodges, he throws in an extra taunt. He was able to steal away the dragon, simply like laying down the pool and waiting for the damage over time to tick. And that has got to be tilting.
Plus with the rework, he spins around in a circle now whenever he taunts. It looks that much better when you've got a slick emote to do it with. As he'll continue shoving up the wave here, and you can see Tormented Soil doing its job. Even though the Corki's trying to spam on the wave, with no blue buff, you don't have the ability to answer. Broken Blade will continue farming up here in the top side. Teleport available now for Licorice. So he can get back to lane when he needs to, but he wants to continue farming up, stacking that money, wants to get to Trinity Force as fast as possible. Makes it much easier to farm up these waves.
Yep, all according to plan here for Licorice. Gangplank, as long as you haven't died, you're just farming away on top side, getting your procs off. Feels very good about the way that this game is going. Remember, the ultimates can be used cross-map. So far, I believe he's been using it in lane to help control those waves, make sure Kennen doesn't get too many plates on the top side, which is definitely a worry. And it is on cooldown right now, trying to wait for it to come back.
And as we're watching this game get to a point where things are going rather slowly, there's only been 1 kill so far in 11 minutes. One thing that's drawing my attention is when you look at the itemization from Acadian, it's straight Cinderhulk this time around from him on the Jarvan. Both Gragas and Jarvan that he played in these first 2 games can go tankier builds or itemize more heavily for damage. Last game he went Runic Echoes into the Oblivion Orb on Gragas, very heavy damage, but he had no impact on the game. He blew up as soon as he went into the fights. And this time around he's saying, all right, I need to be that meatball. I need to be that front line. Trust Bjergsen and Sven.
And I think it makes a lot of sense when you look at how much damage they have in this team, right? There's a tremendous amount of DPS in this squad when you have the double marksman. And this is actually very interesting. It's not Blade of the Rune King as I expected. This is actually a Gunblade coming out from Broken Blade, which is pretty atypical. So he is going back towards more of an AP or at least a hybrid style of build. As you pointed out, certainly Protobelt, the most common by far for these AP styles, but maybe you're going to try to run it a little bit down the middle, have a little bit of power in that lane with more of an on-hit style, kind of hybrid build, but then still build into AP team fights.
Yeah, the active.
Side. Oh boy. Ooh.
Another good sidestep there from the C9 side. Zazel gonna walk his way out of that ultimate. But yeah, the active from Gunblade is very important to me. The extra slow goes a long way in a one-on-one where Gangplank wants to use the orange on a stun from Kennen from the passive. If you have that extra option of another slow for a chase down, that can be very big, while not necessarily completely sacrificing your AP damage. Meanwhile, Bjergsen in the mid lane is going very close to Niski here.
Bjergsen might be in some trouble, trying to get himself away from the ult. He does manage to get back in time. Zazel's made his way in the fight now, trying to get himself to safety as the counter engage comes out. Broken Blade coming around from the corner, looking to maybe make something happen there. Won't be able to find the angle. Niski alive at 200 HP. Everybody from both teams hanging out here in the mid lane. Drake is alive for the second time, and Cloud9's mid laner is hurt.
Yeah, it's 10-man mid, and that was the TP from Licorice as well as the ultimate, so they want to try to get this dragon, but Niski is so low. I think it could be a really tough fight for them to take, but he doesn't have teleport to actually reset on the map right now.
Niski is trying to stay at range, fire those bindings in the fight. The artillery here for his team, or maybe just throw down some more tormented soil onto the Drake. Pull off a miracle here for a second time. TSM looking for the chance to make something happen. Oh! They're looking to go in. It's a Broken Blade going into the back lines of Cloud9, looking to find the CC. Not going to get a whole lot just yet. Smoothie's going to be taken down by Niski. Sinskaran now finding the damage. Flint's going to be executed. Sinskaran takes him down. Acadian's cut down next. And that is 4 kills, Cloud9.
4 clean kills for C9. They give up nothing. They're going to get the objective here in the Dragon as well as mid turret afterwards.
Cloud9 winning everything. This is going to be a monumental early game lead. 2 kills to a GP in a team fight where it's early game and he didn't even have his ult.
Boys and girls, we talk about snowballing. Well, I hope y'all got some rescue dogs on 911 ready to go, because this is an avalanche. Cloud9 is taking everything so far. They've got themselves the first turret. They got the first 2 Drakes. They got the first 5 kills. This team is popping off.
Whew, that is going to be an incredible turning point for this game. 5-0, double elemental Drake's advantage for C9. This is looking so difficult for TSM now. Let's take another look at how this fight started out, though.
Yeah, it really is. And here it is one more time. Acadian does look for the engage. Some of this Ash poke has taken its toll, though. Look at the health bars. Acadian, Smoothie, already fairly low when they go in. Sneaky able to flash out, gets devoured. The ultimate not too effective from Broken Blade.
Yeah, Acadian actually ulted in and then EQ'd out on Jarvan there. And C9 take that opportunity with the Devour coming through from Zazel, keeping everyone safe. To clean this one up on the outside, Svenskeren went straight for Bjergsen there in the back line as Rek'Sai was able to burst him down.
You can see the frustration on Smoothie's face, not being able to make anything happen in that fight. And I mean, the Jarvan engage onto the injured Morgana could have worked, but Niski is positioned right at the wall. He flashes over to safety, and all of a sudden, TSM don't have anything that they can really initiate on.
And it looked like Niski probably even flashed the damage from that J4 ultimate. He seemed to be very, very quick on the trigger there. And you know, when Broken Blade couldn't get an effective ult, there wasn't a lot going on.
Cloud9 enjoy a 4,000 gold lead here at 15 minutes. And you can see on your screen, 75% win rate with a lead at 15. An outlier in North America, which this season has been a bit of a struggler when it comes to converting leads at 15 into actual victories. But Cloud9 know how to make it happen.
They certainly do, but you have to say, at least for TSM, there is the potential of scaling up, of having this double marksman be really powerful in those later stages. Sven and Bjergsen, 2 of the best in the business at playing those late game team fights. So for TSM, it's about mitigation. It's about controlling and stopping additional loss.
Right, we were talking about TSM coming into the series, saying how they've only lost 1 out of the last 10 games coming into this best of 5. So even if they are on the back foot, this is not some rookie roster. This is not some squad that has yet to prove themselves that everybody considers an underdog. This is one of the most storied organizations in our LCS, and they always can't be counted out.
A huge portion of those wins were comebacks as well. C9, though, are currently taking topside with the Rift Herald. Rift Herald pushes have to be respected here, and Broken Blade is the only one from TSM up there. Gonna try and sneak an auto attack behind Shelly. Does get seen by Svenskeren, backs off a little bit, and the charge goes through. Large portion of damage to the turret.
And that's a hell of a stat on your screen right now. TSM win behind at 15, still win 78% of their games.
That's higher than 75%, my friend.
Oh my goodness gracious, Kobe, you're a mathematician over here, huh? 78's bigger than 75.
That engineering degree going to work.
Yeah,
buddy.
look at that. Stay in school, kids. You can end up just like my boy Kobe here, making the big calculations, as TSM will manage to continue to try to hold on this game. Still 4,000 gold behind. The bleeding is staunch, but that's still a pretty big wound.
And you got to check in once more on this jungle matchup and look at the lead that Svenskeren has built up for himself. Acadian had fantastic early game pathing that did put him ahead, but once again, we're in this situation where he is down on experience, significantly down on gold here as well.
Svenskeren has definitely flourished since moving to Cloud9. Really has found a very comfortable space for himself. Meanwhile, on the top side, TSM do get something back for themselves. They're trying to trade objectives right now. Cross map. This is what you need to do when you're behind. Broken Blade finds a turret kill for them and gets some extra gold.
If you're Cloud9 right now, what you got to be looking at is the fact that, yes, you're going up against a team that does do well when playing from behind, so you need to take this lead and continue finding ways to build it. Sitting on it for a while, hoping that this matures into something good, you hatch that egg and it turns into a victory, that's not going to count it in this game. I want to see this team push the advantage.
Exactly, and that's where you're focusing on objectives, right? The next dragon up in 40. That should be the big focus for Cloud9. Take these neutral objectives. Then post 20 minutes, they need to start prepping Baron, getting vision around there, looking for picks with their hard engage.
Exactly. They're taking the first step in that process, pushing the side wave. You can see Zeyzal on the Tahm Kench. Something we mentioned in Champions Select is so good at controlling the mid game because you can push minion waves, have that 30-second advantage with the threat of Abyssal Voyage, then moving down to the objective, trying to set up vision before it spawns.
Hawk shot fired off by Sneaky. Trying to keep some eyes there on TSM as they also prep for the Drake. Even though they're behind, they don't want to give anything away for free that they don't have to. Bjergsen, no package available here on the Corki. They will not have that tool here for this team fight.
C9 also need eyes on Broken Blade. That is why they're warding their flank so heavily. You cannot afford, despite this gold lead, to have him flanking in behind.
They got to force this because Broken Blade's pushing topside. His teleport is available. It takes a while to channel. TSM are actually the ones continuing to leash this dragon.
TSM doing a good job, even from behind, using what they have in the top lane, in the possibility of getting a flank off with Broken Blade to maintain control of this Drake pit. And now it's going to be a smite fight yet again. Acadian down to half HP. Drake going to be taken down by the side of C9. As the Rek'Sai ultimate comes through, Acadian's going to be taken low. Svenskeren going to be forced out of the fight. The gangplank ulti comes down. GP looking to work his way into the fight. Sven going to be taken low now as well, getting himself away. Broken Blade with the flash over the wall. Sneaky takes out Sven, but he's going to fall himself. It's 80 carry for 80 carry so far as Bjergsen eliminates Niski and now tries to get himself away from Licorice. Broken Blade grabs a kill onto Zeyzal as the Pirate will run down that poor little Corki, and Licorice goes on a killing spree.
TSM this time around get the extra kill, collecting 3 of them. The dragon was picked up by C9, though, adding another cloud to speed them up.
Such a bloody fight there, but TSM fighting back despite losing that dragon. As you say, they get an extra kill. They're keeping this gold lead very, very close. And here this is one more time. It's down to Sven and Acadian. You can see Sven timing the E and the smite. QE smite right there, executes it down, and then the fight begins in earnest as the 2 soul laners are TPing in.
Yeah, then we have a bit of a split fight here where the Braum ultimate cuts the river in 2. Sneaky on your screen goes very offensive, trying to take down these 3 TSM members, and in the end does get Sven, but Broken Blade coming in the backside stops them. Bjergsen in the 1v2 kills Niski. Licorice will eventually chase him down and finish up one extra one, but then again, on the bottom side of your screen, TSM continued the chase.
Yeah, and that was honestly a pretty close duel there between Licorice and Bjergsen. That Hexdrinker actually coming in so big has now been upgraded to a Maw, which I do think is an intelligent buy when you're going up against double magic damage solo laners, as well as some of that mixed damage coming out of Varus.
And TSM showed exactly why they're a team that comes back from deficits with the entire way they played that fight. Their positioning forced Cloud9 to engage them in a way that they could not take the fight in the way that a team with 4,000 gold wants to take it. And now, Cloud9 has to find the opportunity to then be the ones in the driver's seat again. Don't let TSM set up like this. While TSM is saying, nope, just continue, let us have this even sort of ground, and we'll try to find our way back in.
Also helps when Bjergsen can 2v1 the other 2 carries of the enemy team, and he gets a kill for himself.
Always useful.
Going 1-for-1. Meanwhile, though, C9, once again, they have the push. They're invading, trying to get vision down throughout this red quadrant of TSM's jungle because that is where Baron is. They're trying to turn the map dark around the objective that is standing on the map currently. They're the ones with the Morgana, with the Ash Arrow. These are very potent tools for picking off TSM when they have to venture into the fog of war to try and check this vision.
And I think C9 has been one of, if not the best team at actually playing around this Baron with the vision game. Svenskeren and Zeyzal in particular really combining to so effectively fight this battle, and that is why TSM is here grouped up, trying to get vision back.
Svenskeren might be in some trouble though going forward. Acadian now going to be taking a lot of damage, goes into the stasis, keeping himself alive. Smoothie having to run away. The Jarvan will fall. There goes Smoothie next. It's a rampage for Licorice and Cloud9 find 2.
They can just start up the Baron now here. There's no more front line for TSM to actually check this, so this should be easily C9's. Jungler is down, and they've got a stranglehold on this game.
C9 control wards in the jungle immediately pay off here, and that will be C9 in purple.
Cloud9 make it work yet again. Svenskeren, the one who goes in, who starts it all off and makes this pick happen.
All right, TSM trying to push through the jungle to clear out those control wards. Svenskeren, he's going to get the knock up here onto Acadian as he goes for the EQ. They trade damage, and Acadian has to use his stopwatch early. Really on the bottom side of your screen, though, Licorice does so much work with the gangplank. He zones out the 2 TSM carries. Sven and Bjergsen have to back off from the gangplank ultimate plus barrel combination. So really, Licorice cutting off the extra damage that could have been added for TSM there in that jungle skirmish.
And it's such a difference maker because Broken Blade was slower to get to that fight. He was not with the team initially, and Licorice certainly getting really, really strong at this point in the game. 4-0-2. He already has 2.5 items completed with an additional BF coming through. And Cloud9 now, they are looking to explode this gold lead as the Baron buff is in their hands.
We got to praise Broken Blade for playing well on TSM in a game. The rest of the team looked kind of shaky here in game number 1. And although he's not doing poorly here in game number 2, it really is Licorice popping off on this GP. 6 out of 9 kill participation. Has the second BF sword in the inventory. Acadian eats the arrow to the back, and now the follow-up damage will come through. He tries to issue a dunk, but instead, he only finds his death. He'll try to waste their time with the Cataclysm walls, but that is it.
And picks like that are crucial when the enemy team's already wearing Baron buff. The minion waves are already there. You immediately lose objectives after getting a pick like that. This is 2 turrets immediately after.
And look at Broken Blade. He's stuck with the rest of TSM. Cloud9 have eyes on this cannon. This is not like the River fight where they have to worry about him coming from any possible angle. Cloud9 knows what they're walking into right now, and they're going to allow that cannon minion to continue applying damage here to the tier 3 turret. They'll look to fight for the inhib after.
Yeah, they could even head down the bot lane. I mean, the minions are there too. This inhibitor looking like it could be theirs. Acadian is back up though.
Broken Blade taking some damage from Licorice. Licorice eating the orange to make sure he doesn't take too much there in return. Acadian up and ready to go. Does not have Jarvan ultimate. Remember, using it as he died, the cooldown is not short enough to have that ready to go now that he's just respawned. Sneaky tries to find a couple of auto attacks down onto Bjergsen. Licorice has moved into the bottom lane. Now, starting that 4-1 that we so often see with Baron. The poke from C9 finds its way onto Sven, and Cloud9 will successfully move up and take the first inhibitor. Inhibitor number 2, now under pressure. Licorice has managed to make it so this one's already mostly dead in terms of the turret, and Svenskeren will keep the minion wave enchanted here in the mid lane.
Down to this TP flower.
Coming in. Broken Blade trying to make something happen. Zazel getting himself away with a thick skin for now. Can they manage to catch up? Smoothie's gonna say yes. Bjergsen grabs kill number 1 as Cloud9 tries to head everybody else all the way out. Broken Blade going into the ultimate, popping the stasis now as well, having a flash away. Acadian goes right back in the fight, still looking to make something pop off here. Smoothie's rooted up, damage coming through. Svenskeren over the wall, looking to take down Broken Blade. The damage is there! He's on a rampage, and now TSM are in retreat. It's 4 versus 5 for Cloud9, but they're running through the health bars of TSM. Licorice goes forward, looking to drop some barrels and some damage, but TSM will disengage. They get themselves back into the base, but Svenskeren is still looking for inhib.
It's Svenskeren versus TSM. He chases them back to the inhib. They get it with double teleports, backing him up, and C9 are done.
They all recalled all 3 TP back in. They're gonna try to end the game here.
Cloud9 going for the end. The teleport comes in. Still no Broken Blade for 10 seconds. Bjergsen's into the road. The damage is down. Licorice unstoppable. And Cloud9 are marching to their second victory of this series. TSM will try to hold, but there is no way they can 3v5 this here. Cloud9 have made their way on the Nexus, and they have made their way to match point.
C9 don't waste a second. 1 Baron, 1 game in 27 minutes, 10 seconds finished up.
Both of these games ending within really 30 seconds of each other. Incredibly explosive, incredibly fast, and oh my God, Svenskeren is a monster. This man is doing it all for the team.
The amount of crap this guy took on TSM so many times when the team fell short and they said Svenskeren's not stepping up. Svenskeren is the problem. We all remember those days when he was on this team, and it has to feel so good for this guy now playing on Cloud9 and especially playing in these carry-type roles to come back and lead the charge against TSM.
And the teamwork behind him, the teleports all coming through, backing him up, the team making this call for all of them to keep the push going forward. They keep the pedal to the metal. They do not back off, go for the easy reset, even though they had just taken 2 inhibitors. They're looking to end the game as quickly as possible, and they succeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not 1, not 2, but 3 TPs coming in at the same time off of that Baron recall. And Cloud9 looking so dominant in these first 2 games. TSM have had their windows, but now they have to win 3 straight against a C9 that is looking on point.
It is reverse, sweep, or bust for TSM. But for more on how Game 2 shook out and Cloud9 won it again, let's hand it back to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
That's right, Captain Flowers. TSM is going to have to do something special in these next 3 games as Cloud9 only look to be more and more dominant as they move through the series, now 2-0 over their opponents. And they did it with a completely different look here in Champion Select.
Right, it might be a very short day today. They're both 26-minute games, this game and the previous one, and they did not look close. They're getting killed in lane phase. They're getting killed at every objective fight. And I don't know what's happened to this TSM, but what are they going to do?
I can tell you what has happened. Acadian looked amazing in the Echo Fox series playing the Rek'Sai into the Jarvan. And for some reason, they're just not giving him that champion anymore. That's what he looked best at. He gave it away to Svenskeren now, and he got bopped in this matchup. I thought this was a lesson that was learned a week ago, yet they're not putting him in a position, and that's a face I'd have too.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things different in this draft as well. The fact that it's not Poppy in the top lane, it's GP. Like, you can't think of a harder pivot in terms of, you know, champion play style. Like, this is a pure tank champion. It's a pure hard carry late game champ. So, you know, the fact that we were talking about the flexibility that comes with Licorice versus Broken Blade, you saw it on display here, and that they could punish when they saw an opportunity to. We don't need to pick frontline. We can pick hard carry top.
Now, we also had some questions about what happens when Sona or Taric get removed from the field. That's exactly what TSM did. They took Taric off the table. C9's response, Tahm Kench, Ashe. And Zeyzal came up big with the Tahm Kench.
Yeah, I mean, Tahm Kench is a pick that is beloved around the world, and it's because of this. They try to engage onto Sneaky, but it doesn't matter. Press W, he's out. You don't even need to burn his flash. That Tahm Kench has cleanse, and we were just talking about it. Could that have killed? Probably, but once again, this is all that you need to do. You just
that first game, it was 3 summoners out of TSM for 1 summoner out of Cloud9 in a 3v2. And they didn't get the kill.
And it was equally effective in teamfight. Once you get out of laning phase, they see this clump right here of 3 people. They go for the Jarvan ult. They're seeing a 3-man J4 into Kench combo. Morgana insta-flashes out. Tahm Kench eats Ashe. So there's only a Tahm Kench getting hit by the Broken Blade ultimate.
Not gonna lie, that's probably one of the worst engages we've seen all split long. The dragon is aggroed onto your AD carry. You're not going to win that fight no matter what. It's a 5v6. That's like trying to do Baron and turn at the same time. You have to commit. So the shot calling right now at TSM is clearly disjointed, and they need somebody to step up and say, this is what we're doing in these fights. And I think that it has to be coming from Akaden. The jungler is typically entrusted with taking part of the early game. He's not doing it, and I want to see him on a comfort pick. Give him the Rek'Sai and see if that's what he's best at and can deliver.
All right, and we need to talk a little bit about the top lane matchup, the Gangplank into the Cannon. Cannon's supposed to be a counter to Gangplank, but if you saw earlier game, Gangplank actually had a CS lead, and there wasn't much jungle attention to that. So maybe Licorice got mad that he got solo killed game 1. All right, I'm going Gangplank, I'm going hard carry, and he's going to pop off this game, and it's much different than game 1.
Yeah, I mean, you see the gold lead was basically negligible. It's about even, and GP is going to become a monster. Acadian spent all his time in the bot lane, and Broken Blade wasn't really doing anything, not able to follow up in that ultimate either. So it was one of those things where you're putting all your eggs in the bot lane basket. That's not working. Top side's not going that well. And then Bjergsen's on this completely passive champion like Corki and can't
versus
really...
Morgana.
Versus Morgana. You don't have any playmaking for your best best player.
2 games in a row, whereas the Echo Fox series, he was playing the Lissandra. He was playing champions that could impact the map.
Take a look at this replay here. We talk about the GP and what it does for the team fight phase. You're looking at 2 ADCs who want to get into the fight. They want to deal that damage on the initiation from TSM. As soon as that GP ult is dropped, boom, they both are forced to exit.
Even though he misses the barrel, like, the zoning is insane. It's double marksman backline that's supposed to follow up off that engage and drop the damage. They can't get there.
Yeah.
And Varus can, shoot a Q in, but, like, you still need to get a little bit more DPS out, even though both of them have long-range tools. There's 0 auto attacks in that team fight almost.
The engage got thwarped, too, by the Rek'Sai knocking up the Jarvan. Again, this happened last week. He was doing that to the other Jarvan. Like, why are you willing to put yourself in the worst situation possible?
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
At this point, do you just choose a different champion for Akaden, or do you think about getting in Grigne and swapping him out? Because in game 1 and game 2, Akaden is not looking very good at all. His pathing, his engagements, even whether it's him choosing to engage or his team telling him to, they're not going very well. So this is definitely hitting him mentally. So is he able to bounce back, or what do they do?
High asking the tough questions, but I think the right questions. I do already have the answer, though. Cloud9 chose red, no substitutions here. So TSM is going to give Acadian another shot to come back, even though Greg was a top performer for the Academy squad just yesterday in a BO5.
I think you keep with Acadian because this is spring. You can give him the experience. He clearly needs it. And in the series against Echo Fox, he did have some rough matches until he was placed on a better champion. If he has a better matchup here, I do trust that he's going to be able to bounce back. Is that going to last 3 games? I don't know yet. We need to see him improve.
I think what you were saying earlier about the engages not being there, he's struggled with engages all split long. Some good games, some bad games, if you think back to his Camille at the start of the split. And I feel like in a playoff series where it's a lot about team fighting and engages, that's where the veteran experience becomes so good for Svenskeren versus Acadian. You saw it on the Jarvan here, taking opportunities when the enemy had flash and stuff like that.
And I think it's very specific engage champions because Jarvan and Gragas engage with their body. They're right there. And unlike a Sejuani, that you don't actually have to put yourself in harm's way. You just pop the ultimate. So it's managing how much damage he's taking versus can my carries follow up is where I think he's really struggling.
I know you want the rec side. TSM's on blue. Are you willing to first pick it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want it so much so that you're willing to first pick it?
I don't know if you can first pick it because you can count on Cloud9 taking it, but a Tahm Kench or something that makes sure that you don't have to attend to every single lane, that you can just go, okay, maybe just the solo lanes and then move on from that. Otherwise, take the first pick. This is the guy that you need to show up.
Hi, Cloud9 has forever been known as the organization that has to run games or series back from an 0-2 deficit. You've been in that position yourself. Talk to me about what's going on in that huddle right there as we see TSM playoff hopes on the line, winning 3 back-to-back-to-back. I mean, you as a team captain, how are you getting people in the mindset to just attack this game before thinking about 4 or 5?
Right. Well, for every pro player, you have to take every game one at a time. You don't think about the previous scores. You don't think about the next game. If you're worried about what happened in the past games, that's going to affect your current game. If you're worried about the future, you're counting your chickens before your eggs hatch, and both ways are bad. So into this next game, they need to think about, all right, we're back to a 0-0 start. We did not get destroyed in the previous games. Definitely don't think that. And just go back into it like, we are the better team. We can win this. We know we're good. Let's play the way that we want to, and then we can take this championship.
Well, you've heard it from high. TSM has their work cut out for them. Cloud9 are on the verge of sweeping TSM out of playoffs. See if they can bounce back in Game 3 after this.